It's a harsh reality, but some people in our lives take pleasure in causing harm and chaos. Think about it. You could be sharing moments, trusting someone, only to discover they are the very source of your turmoil. Today, we dive deep into a topic that's as fascinating as it is frightening, recognizing the signs you're dealing with an evil person. Whether it's a colleague, a friend, or even a family member, these individuals can be masters of deception, hiding their true nature behind charm and charisma. Today, we're not just exploring this dark side of human behavior out of curiosity. Understanding these signs can be life-changing. The Stoics believed in the power of perception and the importance of living a life guided by reason and virtue. By identifying and understanding these toxic traits, we can protect our peace of mind and cultivate healthier relationships, staying true to the principles of wisdom and self-control. Stay with us as we uncover 5 telltale signs of an evil person. By the end of this video, you'll not only be better equipped to spot these behaviors, but also learn practical ways to safeguard your mental health and well-being. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple, free favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. Please don't skip any part of the video. You won't want to miss our special bonus section, where I'll share an effective strategy for setting firm boundaries with these individuals. Let's embark on this journey of self-awareness and resilience together. Number 1, charming and charismatic at first. When we talk about people who seem charming and charismatic at first, it's important to remember that appearances can be deceiving. These individuals often have a way of lighting up a room, making everyone around them feel special and valued. They know exactly what to say to make you feel like you've just made a new best friend. At first glance, they seem like the perfect person, witty, engaging, and seemingly interested in your life. It's easy to get swept up in their charm, thinking you've found someone truly special. However, the Stoics teach us to look beyond the surface and seek the truth through rational thought and observation. Over time, you might start to notice little cracks in their facade. Maybe they always need to be the center of attention, overshadowing others in social settings. They might talk over you, interrupt you, or even subtly put you down in front of others. These aren't just quirks or signs of an extroverted personality. They're red flags. The Stoics would advise us to observe these behaviors with a clear mind, unclouded by the initial excitement of their charisma. Imagine being at a party where this person is the life of the event, telling jokes and captivating the crowd. At first, it feels great to be in their orbit, but as the evening progresses, you realize they're dominating every conversation, making everything about themselves. When you try to share something about your life, they quickly redirect the topic back to them. This is where the principle of apatheia, a state of being undisturbed by external things, comes in handy. By staying emotionally balanced, you can see through their charming act and recognize the self-centered nature underneath. It's also crucial to pay attention to how they react when things don't go their way. A person who is genuinely kind and caring will handle disappointments and disagreements with grace and understanding. But someone who is merely playing a role to gain your trust might quickly become angry or defensive. They might lash out or try to manipulate the situation to regain control. According to Stoic wisdom, such reactions are clear indicators of a lack of virtuous character. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to be wary of those who display signs of anger and manipulation, as these are not the traits of a rational and virtuous person. The key here is to take your time and trust your instinct. The Stoics believed in the power of observation and the importance of not rushing to judgment based on first impressions. Epictetus taught that we should carefully evaluate the character of those we allow into our inner circle. So, if someone seems too good to be true, give yourself the space to observe their actions over time. Notice how they treat others, especially when they think no one is watching. True character is revealed in how a person behaves when they aren't trying to impress anyone. Remember, not everyone who seems charming and charismatic has good intentions. Some people use their charm as a tool for manipulation. By staying grounded and mindful, you can protect yourself from being taken in by a superficial facade. Stay true to the principles of wisdom and discernment, and you'll be better equipped to navigate these complex social interactions. Another crucial sign to watch out for: a lack of empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It's what allows us to connect deeply with those around us, to offer support when it's needed, and to create meaningful relationships. However, there are individuals out there who seem to completely lack this essential human trait. They don't care about how their actions or words affect others, and this can have a devastating impact on those around them. The Stoics believed in the importance of compassion and understanding as fundamental virtues. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the interconnectedness of humanity and the need to consider the well-being of others as part of our own well-being. So, when we encounter someone who shows a blatant disregard for the feelings of others, it's a serious red flag. Imagine you're sharing something deeply personal with a friend, hoping for some comfort or understanding. Instead of showing any genuine concern, they brush off your feelings or even mock your vulnerability. This lack of empathy can make you feel isolated and misunderstood. It's not just about them not being there for you in tough times. It's also about them failing to share in your joy or celebrate your successes. A person who lacks empathy won't cheer for your achievements. They might even undermine them or take credit themselves. This behavior is not just limited to personal relationships. Consider a boss who pushes their employees to the brink, showing no concern for their well-being. They might demand long hours without fair compensation, ignore requests for time off, or publicly criticize employees in a way that's meant to humiliate rather than constructively guide. This creates a toxic work environment where people feel undervalued and stressed. The Stoics would advise us to maintain our inner peace and integrity in such situations, recognizing that the lack of empathy in others is a reflection of their character, not ours. Furthermore, a lack of empathy can lead to more sinister behaviors. People who cannot empathize with others may engage in actions that are outright cruel or without any sense of guilt or remorse. They might lie, cheat, or even inflict physical harm without a second thought about the pain they're causing. The Stoic philosopher Seneca emphasized the importance of kindness and justice, teaching that our actions should always reflect our inner virtue. When someone lacks empathy, they're fundamentally disconnected from these values. Lack of empathy is also evident in smaller, everyday interactions. For example, you might notice that someone constantly interrupts conversations to talk about themselves, shows little interest in what others have to say, or fails to offer help when it's clearly needed. These might seem like minor annoyances at first, but they add up to a pattern of behavior that reveals a deeper issue. The Stoics would remind us to be observant and discerning, understanding that these small signs are indicative of a person's true character. If you find yourself dealing with someone who consistently lacks empathy, it's important to set boundaries to protect your own mental and emotional health. The Stoics believed in the importance of maintaining our own well-being and not allowing the negativity of others to disturb our peace. You have the right to distance yourself from those who drain your energy and bring you down. Another major sign of an evil person is manipulation. Manipulation occurs when someone uses deceit or cunning tactics to control or influence others to get what they want. It's a subtle, often insidious behavior that can be incredibly damaging to those on the receiving end. Manipulators are skilled at twisting situations, making you question your reality and bending your will to suit their needs. This can leave you feeling confused, powerless, and unsure of your own judgments. Let's think about manipulation from a Stoic perspective. The Stoics valued clarity of thought and the ability to see things as they truly are. They taught that our perceptions should be grounded in reality and that we should remain steadfast in our principles, no matter the external pressures. When someone manipulates you, they are attempting to cloud your perception and distort reality, making it difficult for you to stay true to these Stoic ideals. The common form of manipulation is gaslighting, where the manipulator tries to make you doubt your own memory, perception, or sanity. They might deny that certain events happened, or they might twist your words and actions to make you feel at fault. For example, let's say you confront a friend about something hurtful they said. Instead of acknowledging it, they might turn the tables, accusing you of being overly sensitive or misremembering the situation. This can erode your confidence and make you reliant on the manipulator's version of reality. Manipulators are also adept at playing the victim. They might guilt-trip you into doing things you don't want to do by making you feel responsible for their happiness or well-being. You might have a friend who constantly complains about their problems, expecting you to drop everything to help them, yet they are never there for you in return. They might say things like, "If you were really my friend, you'd do this for me," making you feel obligated to comply. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, emphasize the importance of understanding what is within our control and what is not. We cannot control others' actions or emotions, only our response to them. Consider how a manipulator might use flattery or charm to get their way. At first, this can feel great. They might shower you with compliments and make you feel special. But over time, you might notice that their praise comes with strings attached. They might compliment you when they want something from you, or when they need you to do something for them. This can make you feel like you owe them, or that you need to live up to their expectations to maintain their approval. The Stoics would remind us that true virtue and self-worth come from within, not from the fleeting approval of others. Manipulation can also take the form of isolation. A manipulative person might try to cut you off from your friends and family, making you more dependent on them. They might say things like, "Your friends don't really care about you," or "Your family doesn't understand you like I do." This tactic makes it easier for them to control you because you become more reliant on them for support and validation. The Stoics believed in maintaining strong, supportive relationships with others, recognizing that we are social beings who thrive in community. Isolation goes against these principles, as it weakens our support network and makes us more vulnerable to manipulation. Financial manipulation is another tactic used by evil people. They might borrow money, never repay it, or they might control your finances to limit your independence. For instance, a partner might insist on managing all the money in the relationship, making you ask for permission to spend anything. This control over finances can make it difficult for you to leave the relationship or assert your independence. The Stoics would encourage us to seek self-sufficiency and independence, ensuring that we are not unduly influenced or controlled by others. Recognizing manipulation for what it is can be challenging, especially when you care about the person involved. The Stoics teach us to be vigilant and discerning, to see things clearly and to act with integrity. If you suspect someone is manipulating you, take a step back and assess the situation objectively. Are they consistently prioritizing their needs over yours? Do they make you feel guilty or unsure of yourself? Are they trying to control aspects of your life or isolate you from others? It's important to set firm boundaries with manipulators and stand your ground. Communicate clearly and assertively about what you will and will not tolerate. Remember, you have the right to your own thoughts, feelings, and actions. The Stoics remind us that while we cannot control how others behave, we can control how we respond. By maintaining our inner strength and clarity, we can protect ourselves from the harmful effects of manipulation and stay true to our values. One of the most glaring signs of an evil person: controlling behavior. This goes beyond mere preferences or quirks. It's about someone who seeks to dominate every aspect of your life, leaving little room for your own autonomy and decisions. Controlling individuals often disguise their behavior as concern or care, but underneath, it's about power and control. The Stoics, who value personal freedom and self-control, would see this behavior as fundamentally opposed to living a virtuous life. Controlling behavior can manifest in many ways. For instance, you might have a friend who insists on always choosing where you go and what you do together. While it might seem harmless at first, over time you start to realize that your preferences and opinions are consistently ignored or overridden. They might say things like, "I know what's best for us," or "You'll have more fun if you just listen to me." This isn't about mutual decision-making. It's about one person exerting their will over another. In relationships, controlling behavior can become even more dangerous. A partner might monitor your whereabouts, demand constant updates on your activities, and even dictate who you can and cannot see. They might go through your phone, check your messages, or insist on knowing all your passwords. This kind of surveillance and micromanagement can make you feel trapped and anxious, constantly walking on eggshells to avoid conflict. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasize the importance of maintaining your own inner freedom and autonomy, regardless of external pressures. Control can also come in the form of financial manipulation. A controlling partner or family member might take charge of all financial decisions, doling out money as they see fit, and keeping you financially dependent on them. They might say, "I handle the money because you're not good with finances." Or, "It's easier if I just take care of everything." This can strip you of your financial independence and make it difficult to leave the relationship or assert your own choices. The Stoics believed in self-sufficiency and managing your own resources wisely, viewing financial control as a form of enslavement that must be resisted. Another way controlling behavior shows up is through isolation. A controlling person might try to cut you off from friends and family, claiming that they're the only one who truly understands or cares about you. They might criticize your loved ones, saying things like, "Your friends don't really care about you," or "Your family is toxic." Over time, you might find yourself increasingly isolated, relying solely on the controlling person for support and companionship. The Stoics recognize the importance of community and supportive relationships, seeing isolation as detrimental to both personal growth and well-being. Controlling individuals also often use threats and intimidation to maintain their power. They might threaten to leave you, harm themselves, or even hurt you if you don't comply with their demands. This creates an environment of fear and anxiety, making it difficult to think clearly or make decisions that are best for you. The Stoics, especially Seneca, taught that we should face our fears and not allow others to intimidate us into submission. True courage and wisdom lie in standing firm against such threats and reclaiming our own power. It's important to understand that controlling behavior is about more than just wanting things done a certain way. It's about fundamentally undermining your ability to make your own choices and live your own life. The Stoics would advise us to recognize these behaviors for what they are: an attack on our autonomy and a violation of our personal freedom. By staying true to our values and maintaining our inner strength, we can resist the influence of controlling individuals and reclaim our right to live freely. If you find yourself dealing with someone who exhibits controlling behavior, it's crucial to set firm boundaries and assert your independence. Communicate clearly about your needs and limits, and don't be afraid to seek support from others who understand your situation. Remember, the Stoics teach us that we cannot control others, but we can control our own reactions and decisions. By staying grounded in our principles and valuing our own autonomy, we can protect ourselves from the harmful effects of controlling behavior and live more authentic, fulfilling lives. Another unmistakable sign of an evil person is pathological lying. This goes beyond the occasional white lie that most people tell. Pathological liars deceive constantly, often without any apparent reason. They fabricate stories, manipulate facts, and distort reality to suit their own needs or to gain an advantage over others. This behavior can be incredibly damaging to relationships, eroding trust and creating a web of deceit that's difficult to untangle. The Stoics valued truth and integrity above all else. They believed that a virtuous life was grounded in honesty and that deceit was a fundamental betrayal of one's character. Marcus Aurelius emphasized living in accordance with nature, which means aligning our actions with truth and reason. When someone lies pathologically, they are living in direct opposition to these principles, creating a false reality that benefits only themselves. Pathological lying can take many forms. It might start with small, seemingly harmless lies, like embellishing a story to make themselves look better or more interesting. Over time, these lies can escalate, covering up mistakes or wrongdoings and manipulating others to achieve their goals. A pathological liar might claim to have accomplished things they haven't, falsely take credit for others' work, or make up stories about their past to gain sympathy or admiration. This constant dishonesty creates a distorted view of reality where you can never be sure what's true and what's fabricated. Consider how a pathological liar might operate in a workplace. They might lie about their qualifications, exaggerate their contributions to projects, or spread false rumors about colleagues to sabotage them. This can create a toxic environment where trust is undermined, and people are constantly on edge, unsure of who to believe. The Stoics would advise us to remain steadfast in our own integrity, not allowing ourselves to be swayed by the deceitful actions of others. Epictetus taught that we should focus on what we can control, our own thoughts and actions, and not be disturbed by the dishonesty of those around us. In personal relationships, pathological lying can be even more destructive. Imagine being in a relationship with someone who constantly lies about their whereabouts, their past, or their feelings. This behavior can make you feel insecure, anxious, and constantly questioning your own perceptions. You might find yourself doubting your memory or second-guessing your instincts, which is exactly what the liar wants. They thrive on creating confusion and instability, keeping you off balance so they can maintain control. The Stoics would remind us to trust our own judgment and not be swayed by the manipulations of others. Seneca taught that true peace comes from within, and that we should not allow the deceit of others to disturb our inner tranquility. One of the most insidious aspects of pathological lying is that it's often difficult to detect at first. Pathological liars can be incredibly convincing, telling their lies with such confidence and detail that it's hard not to believe them. They might mix truth with lies, making it even more challenging to discern what's real. This is where the Stoic principle of vigilance comes into play. We must remain observant and critical, not taking things at face value, but instead seeking the truth through careful consideration and evidence. When you catch someone in a lie, pay attention to how they react. Do they become defensive or aggressive? Do they try to turn the tables and blame you? Or do they offer a plausible explanation that seems to make sense, even if it's just another layer of deceit? A genuine person will admit to their mistakes and strive to correct them, while a pathological liar will double down on their falsehoods, weaving an even more intricate web of lies. The Stoics would counsel us to remain calm and rational in the face of such behavior, recognizing it for what it is and not allowing it to provoke us. It's also important to consider the long-term impact of pathological lying. Over time, it can erode the very foundation of trust that any relationship is built upon. Once trust is broken, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild. You might find yourself constantly suspicious, always wondering if you're being lied to again. This can lead to a toxic cycle of mistrust and resentment. The Stoics believed in the importance of building strong, honest relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. When dealing with a pathological liar, you must decide whether it's worth trying to rebuild that trust, or whether it's healthier to distance yourself from their toxic influence. If you find yourself entangled with a pathological liar, it's crucial to set firm boundaries and protect your own mental and emotional well-being. The Stoics would advise us to remain true to our own values and principles, not allowing ourselves to be dragged down by the deceit of others. Be clear about what you will and will not tolerate. And don't be afraid to walk away from a relationship or situation that is built on lies. Remember, your peace of mind and integrity are more important than maintaining a connection with someone who consistently deceives you. Now, how can you protect yourself from these harmful behaviors while maintaining your peace and integrity? Setting boundaries is one of the most crucial skills you can develop when dealing with difficult or toxic people. Boundaries are about defining what you will and will not accept in your relationships, and they are essential for protecting your mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. The Stoics, who emphasized the importance of personal integrity and inner peace, would see boundary setting as a fundamental practice for maintaining a virtuous and tranquil life. First and foremost, it's important to recognize that setting boundaries is not about being harsh or unkind. It's about respecting yourself and ensuring that others respect you as well. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-respect and living in harmony with our true nature. By setting clear boundaries, you are not only protecting yourself, but also fostering healthier interactions with others. When it comes to setting boundaries, clarity is key. You need to be specific about what behaviors you will not tolerate and communicate this clearly and assertively. For example, if you have a friend who frequently belittles you or puts you down, you might say, "I appreciate our friendship, but I won't tolerate being spoken to in a disrespectful manner. If this continues, I will have to distance myself." This approach is direct and leaves no room for misinterpretation. According to Stoic principles, this kind of clear communication helps maintain order and respect in relationships. Another important aspect of setting boundaries is consistency. It's not enough to state your boundaries once and expect others to adhere to them without reminders. You must consistently enforce your boundaries even when it's uncomfortable or difficult. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, emphasized the importance of discipline and perseverance. By consistently upholding your boundaries, you demonstrate self-respect and teach others how to treat you. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, it's a clear sign that they do not respect you or your limits, and it may be necessary to reassess the relationship. It's also important to remember that setting boundaries is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. As relationships evolve, your boundaries may need to be adjusted. For instance, in a work environment, you might need to set boundaries around your availability and workload to prevent burnout. You could say to a colleague or supervisor, "I am happy to help with this project, but I cannot take on additional tasks beyond my current responsibilities." The Stoics would advise us to balance our duties and not overextend ourselves to the detriment of our well-being. One of the most challenging aspects of setting boundaries is dealing with the pushback or resistance you might encounter. People who are used to getting their way, especially those with controlling or manipulative tendencies, may not take kindly to your newfound assertiveness. They might react with anger, guilt-tripping, or even attempts to undermine your confidence. The Stoics teach us to remain calm and steadfast in the face of such challenges. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of maintaining our composure and not being swayed by the negative emotions of others. When you encounter resistance, Stay firm and remind yourself that your boundaries are necessary for your well-being. In some cases, setting boundaries might mean making difficult decisions, such as distancing yourself from certain individuals or even ending relationships that are toxic or harmful. This can be a painful process, but it's essential for preserving your mental and emotional health. The Stoics would remind us that our primary responsibility is to our own virtue and well-being. Seneca often spoke about the importance of choosing our associations wisely, recognizing that the company we keep can significantly impact our character and happiness. By distancing yourself from those who consistently violate your boundaries, you are making a powerful statement about your self-worth and commitment to living a virtuous life. It's also helpful to seek support from others when setting boundaries. This could mean talking to trusted friends, family members, or a therapist about your experiences and getting their input and encouragement. Sharing your struggles and successes with boundary setting can provide you with valuable perspective and strengthen your resolve. The Stoics valued community and the support of like-minded individuals. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the interconnectedness of humanity and the importance of mutual support. By leaning on your support network, you can find the strength to uphold your boundaries and maintain your well-being. Did you know that the secret to transforming your life's biggest challenges into your greatest opportunities might have been discovered over 2,000 years ago? Imagine facing life's storms with a calm so powerful that nothing could shake your inner peace. Sounds like a superpower, right? Well, it's not just a fantasy. This ancient superpower is an age-old philosophy that's as practical today as it was in the bustling markets and marble halls of ancient Rome and Greece. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control every aspect of our lives, we have absolute power over how we choose to react. And in today's world, where uncertainty seems to be the only certainty, these teachings could be the anchor we've all been searching for. So, whether you're dealing with stress, facing adversity, or simply looking to find more joy in the everyday, stick around. Today, we're diving deep into Stoicism, uncovering its timeless wisdom, and discovering how it can transform not just the way we think, but the way we live. 1. Focusing on what's in your control. Have you ever found yourself stuck in traffic, fuming over the delay, or scrolling through your phone only to get upset over a negative comment someone left on your post? It happens to the best of us. It's almost like our day-to-day life is filled with these little tests, challenging our mood and peace of mind at every turn. But here's a game-changing perspective from the world of Stoicism that can turn all that frustration on its head. Stoicism, this incredible philosophy that dates back to ancient Greece and Rome, hands us a powerful tool, focusing on what's in our control. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about that for a second. Traffic, bad weather, negative comments, these are all outside our control. We can't change them, no matter how much we wish we could. What we can change, however, is how we react to them. This idea isn't just ancient wisdom, it's backed by modern psychology too. Carl Jung, the giant in the field of psychology, famously stated, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." This aligns perfectly with this practice. It's about recognizing that the only real power we have is over our own reactions, thoughts, and actions. Let's break it down a bit. Say you're in that traffic jam, late for an important meeting. You can spend that time stewing in anger, honking your horn, and stressing out, which, let's be honest, won't make the cars ahead move any faster. Or you can take a deep breath, accept the situation, and maybe use the time to listen to a podcast, an audiobook, or simply enjoy some music. The traffic hasn't changed, but your response to it has. And with that shift, your stress levels drop, and your day looks a bit brighter. This principle of focusing on what you can control extends far beyond just dealing with traffic or weather. It applies to our personal goals, our reactions to others, and our approach to obstacles in life. As Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic heavyweight, reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So, next time you find yourself getting worked up over something outside your control, remember these wise words from our friends. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, let it go. Focus on your reaction, your mindset, and your actions. This simple shift can have a profound impact on your stress levels and overall happiness. It's not always easy, but it's worth practicing every day. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. And as we learn to focus more on what's in our control, we'll find ourselves not just surviving life's challenges, but thriving in spite of them. 2. Embracing obstacles as opportunities. Stoicism teaches us the art of embracing obstacles as opportunities. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Most of us are programmed to view obstacles as just that, barriers to our success and happiness. But Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus flip this narrative on its head. They tell us, when life throws you a curveball, instead of asking, why me? Ask, what can I learn? This is a game changer. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, penned in his personal writings, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. What he means here is that every obstacle, no matter how daunting, not only tests our resilience, but also teaches us valuable lessons. It's about finding the silver lining in tough situations and using it to fuel our growth. This perspective isn't just ancient philosophy, it's backed by modern thinkers too. The famous psychologist Carl Jung said, "What you resist persists." By fighting against obstacles, we give them more power over us. But by accepting and learning from them, we can overcome them. This mindset is about transforming challenges into stepping stones towards becoming stronger and wiser. Let's make it practical. Say you're facing rejection from job applications. It's easy to fall into a spiral of self-pity and doubt. But what if you viewed each rejection as feedback? Maybe there's a skill you need to improve, or a new strategy for your job search. That shift in perspective can turn a series of rejections into a path for professional development. Another example is personal conflicts. They're uncomfortable and stressful, but they also offer a chance to practice patience, empathy, and communication skills. Every disagreement is an opportunity to understand different viewpoints and refine our conflict resolution abilities. The essence of embracing obstacles as opportunities lies in asking ourselves, what can this situation teach me? Instead of being passive victims of circumstance, we become active learners and problem solvers. This doesn't mean that facing obstacles becomes easy, but it does mean that we approach them with a mindset geared toward growth and learning. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the heart of Stoicism. It's about seeing beyond the immediate pain or frustration of an obstacle and finding the lessons and opportunities it presents. So, when you're faced with a challenge, big or small, try to pause and reframe it. Ask yourself what you can learn from the situation and how it can make you stronger and wiser. Remember, obstacles aren't just hurdles to overcome, they're opportunities to grow. By adopting this mindset, we can navigate life's ups and downs with more grace, resilience, and wisdom. 3. Living in the present moment. It's something we hear about all the time, right? Live in the now. But what does that really mean, and why is it so important? Living in the present moment is about fully embracing and experiencing where you are at this very second, not letting your mind wander off to the worries of tomorrow or the regrets of yesterday. It's about realizing that life, with all its beauty, challenges and surprises, happens in the now. This concept isn't new. It's been a cornerstone of philosophy, echoed by great minds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, and reiterated by modern psychologists and thinkers. Let's start with the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." He understood that the power of living in the present lies in its ability to ground us, to clear our minds of distractions, and to allow us to appreciate the richness of life as it unfolds. But why is it so hard to stay present? Our minds are often cluttered with thoughts, worries about what's next, or replaying things that have already happened. This constant mental noise pulls us away from the beauty and potential of the here and now. As the famous psychologist Carl Jung put it, the least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. Living in the present moment gives meaning to the small, everyday experiences, enriching our lives beyond measure. Aristotle talked about the importance of being mindful of the present to achieve eudaimonia, or a state of being happy, healthy, and prosperous. He believed that by focusing on the here and now, we could live a virtuous life, making the most of our human experience. So, how can we practice living in the present? It starts with mindfulness. The art of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. When you eat, savor each bite. When you walk, notice the feeling of the ground under your feet. Listen actively when someone is speaking to you, instead of planning what you're going to say next. These simple acts of mindfulness bring us back to the present, making our lives richer and more meaningful. Seneca offered this wisdom: "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." He understood that anxiety about what's to come or what has been only serves to diminish our happiness in the now. Living in the present isn't about ignoring the future or forgetting the past. It's about finding a balance where we learn from our past and plan for our future, without letting those activities consume our present. It's in this balance that we find peace and contentment. Remember, every moment is an opportunity to reset and refocus on the now. It's in the present that we live, love, and make memories. So, let's make a conscious effort to be more present in our lives. Let's cherish the now, for this moment, right here, is where life truly happens. 4. Building self-discipline. I know the word self-discipline might bring to mind images of rigid schedules and a life devoid of fun, but let's reshape that picture together. Self-discipline is not about restricting your life. It's about empowering yourself to make choices that align with your deepest values and long-term aspirations. It's choosing what's right for you, not what's easy in the moment. At its core, building self-discipline is about mastery over ourselves. It's about saying yes to things that serve us and no to things that don't, even when it's tough. Think about it. Whether it's sticking to a workout routine, saving money instead of impulse buying, or turning off Netflix to focus on a project. These choices might not deliver instant gratification, but they pave the way for long-term satisfaction and success. Stoic philosophy has a lot to say about self-discipline. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This powerful statement highlights the essence of self-discipline. It's about controlling our impulses, emotions, and actions despite the external temptations and distractions that life throws our way. Seneca offers wisdom on the subject too. He advises us to be steadfast and control our desires, rather than being controlled by them. He understood that true freedom comes from within, from our ability to govern ourselves and our appetites. But why is self-discipline so critical? Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, sheds light on this. He believed that we achieve excellence and virtue through habit, By practicing self-discipline, we cultivate habits that lead us toward our best selves. It's not about occasional acts of willpower, but about consistently making choices that reflect our values and goals. Building self-discipline also ties into modern psychological understanding. Carl Jung, a pioneer in psychology, emphasized the importance of integrating all aspects of our personality to live fully. This integration requires self-discipline, as we must navigate the desires of different parts of our psyche, choosing paths that contribute to our overall well-being and growth. So, how can we build self-discipline in our daily lives? Start small. Pick one area you want to improve, whether it's your diet, exercise routine, or spending habits. Set clear, achievable goals and take it one day at a time. Remember, every time you make a choice that aligns with your goals, you're building the muscle of self-discipline. Epictetus reminds us, no great thing is created suddenly. Self-discipline is built through small, consistent actions. It's about progress, not perfection. Every day presents new opportunities to practice self-discipline, to choose actions that move us closer to who we want to be. Building self-discipline is a journey. It's about finding balance between what we want now and what we want most. It's about making choices that might be hard in the moment, but will bring us closer to our goals, happiness, and peace in the long run. Now, let's commit to this journey together, supporting one another and choosing what's right, not what's easy. Remember, in the realm of self-discipline lies the path to achieving our dreams and living in the life we truly love. 5. Developing emotional resilience. When life throws its curveballs, we all experience a whirlwind of emotions. Feeling angry, sad, or frustrated is a natural part of being human. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the emotions we feel. It's about how we handle them. That's where the magic of emotional resilience comes in. Emotional resilience is like this superpower that allows us to navigate through life's storms with grace and come out stronger on the other side. It's about acknowledging our emotions, understanding them, and then taking positive steps to move forward, rather than being swept away by the tide of our feelings. The Stoics had a lot to say about this. Marcus Aurelius, for example, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This profound insight touches the essence of emotional resilience. It's about recognizing that while we might not have control over what happens to us, we have control over how we respond. Our emotions don't have to control our actions. Seneca offers wisdom on facing adversity without losing our composure. He teaches that life's hardships are tests of our character and resilience. By facing our feelings with understanding and patience, we can grow wiser and more robust. But how do we develop this emotional resilience? It starts with self-awareness. Being mindful of our emotions and reactions helps us understand ourselves better. It's okay to feel what we're feeling, but instead of reacting impulsively, we can choose to respond in a way that aligns with our values and long-term well-being. But how do we develop this emotional resilience? It starts with self-awareness. Being mindful of our emotions and reactions helps us understand ourselves better. It's okay to feel what we're feeling, but instead of reacting impulsively, we can choose to respond in a way that aligns with our values and long-term well-being. Aristotle spoke about the golden mean, finding the balance between excess and efficiency. This concept applies beautifully to emotional resilience. It's about finding a balanced response to our emotions, not suppressing them or letting them overpower us. Carl Jung, a pioneer in psychology, emphasized the importance of integrating all aspects of our psyche to achieve wholeness. Part of this process involves confronting our emotions, understanding them, and learning from them. This is at the heart of developing emotional resilience. So, what can you do when you're in the grip of strong emotions? First, give yourself permission to feel. Acknowledge your emotions without judgment. Then, take a step back and try to understand what triggered these feelings. This reflection can provide valuable insights into your emotional patterns and triggers. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is a powerful reminder that our reactions to our emotions can shape our experiences. Instead of being reactive, we can choose to respond in a way that is constructive and healing. Developing emotional resilience is a journey. It involves practicing mindfulness, self-reflection, and patience. It's about building a toolkit of coping strategies, like journaling, talking to a trusted friend, or practicing relaxation techniques. Most importantly, it's about treating yourself with kindness and compassion as you navigate through your emotions. Emotional resilience is not about never feeling negative emotions. It's about learning to ride the waves of those emotions with grace and coming out on the other side stronger and more self-aware. By developing emotional resilience, we empower ourselves to face life's challenges with courage and poise. Let's embrace this journey together, supporting each other and becoming more emotionally resilient, and ultimately living a more fulfilling life. 6. Memento mori. Remember, you will pass away. The Stoics used this concept not to create fear, but to inspire a deeper appreciation for every moment. They believed that by keeping the inevitability of death in mind, we would live more fully, consciously, and with gratitude for the present. Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations often reflected on the transience of life, encouraging us to live in a way that's true to our values and to make the most of the time we're given. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think, he wrote. This isn't about being morose. It's a call to action, a reminder to focus on what truly matters, to let go of petty concerns, and to live with purpose and integrity. Seneca, too, spoke about the shortness of life, urging us not to waste time on trivialities, but to focus on creating a meaningful existence. He believed that being mindful of death encourages us to live more wisely and to cherish our relationships and experiences. Epictetus emphasized the importance of focusing on the present and making the best use of our time. By remembering that we won't live forever, we're more likely to live ethically and to appreciate the beauty and richness of life. How can we incorporate memento mori into our own lives without it feeling like a dark cloud over our heads? It starts with shifting our perspective. Instead of seeing the awareness of death as something fearful, we can view it as a powerful motivator to live our lives to the fullest. It's about embracing the present, not postponing our dreams or happiness for some undefined future that's not guaranteed. Think about the things you've been putting off. Maybe it's pursuing a passion, reconnecting with loved ones, or simply taking time to appreciate the small joys of everyday life. Memento mori reminds us not to take our time for granted. It encourages us to live more authentically, to say what we mean, to love openly, and to be present in our lives. This concept also teaches us to appreciate the impermanence of life, which in turn deepens our gratitude for the moments we have. When we remember that our time is limited, we're more likely to cherish our experiences, to live more mindfully, and to express our gratitude for the people and moments that enrich our lives. So, let's use memento mori, not as a source of fear, but as a catalyst for growth, gratitude, and a deeper appreciation of life. Let it remind us to make choices that align with our deepest values, to cherish our relationships, and to savor the beauty of the present moment, remembering that we will die one day, encourages us to live more fully today. In embracing memento mori, we find a powerful reminder to live, not in fear of death, but in celebration of life. Let's make every moment count, not because we're afraid of its end, but because we're in love with life itself. Let's live in a way that, when our time does come, we can look back with no regrets, knowing we lived fully, loved deeply, and appreciated the incredible journey that life is. 7. Practicing gratitude. It's fascinating how such a simple concept can profoundly impact our lives. Gratitude is about shifting our focus to what we have, rather than dwelling on what we're missing. This practice can be a real game changer, especially on those days that feel like an uphill battle. The Stoics, wise as they were, had a lot to say about gratitude. They believed that happiness doesn't come from having more, but from appreciating what we already have. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of focusing on the present and finding joy in the simple things. He said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This is gratitude in its purest form, recognizing the value of life itself and the many gifts it offers us each day. Seneca talked about how our desires can lead us astray, always chasing after more and never finding true satisfaction. He suggested that by focusing on what we have and understanding that the best things in life are already within our grasp, we can find real contentment. Epictetus, known for his followers to appreciate their current circumstances, whatever they might be, he believed that by accepting and finding value in our present situation, we could live a more fulfilled life. But how do we practice gratitude, especially when life throws curveballs our way? It starts with making it a daily habit. Each morning or evening, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. It could be as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a conversation with a friend, or the beauty of a sunset. This practice helps rewire our brains to focus on the positive, boosting our mood and overall outlook on life. Gratitude also means embracing challenges and finding lessons within them. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective helps us appreciate our experiences, both good and bad, as valuable steps on our journey. Moreover, practicing gratitude helps us build stronger connections with others. By expressing appreciation for the people in our lives, we not only brighten their day, but also strengthen our own resilience. A simple thank you can go a long way in showing someone that they're valued and loved. Aristotle spoke about the importance of recognizing the good in our lives and striving for a virtuous life. He believed that gratitude was key to achieving eudaimonia, or true happiness, as it allows us to appreciate the goodness around us and within ourselves. Even modern psychology supports the benefits of gratitude. Studies show that people who practice gratitude regularly experience less anxiety, sleep better, and have a more positive outlook on life. As Carl Jung said, the word happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. By acknowledging and being grateful for the full spectrum of our experiences, we find a deeper, more authentic form of happiness. So let's make gratitude a cornerstone of our daily lives. Let's celebrate the small victories, cherish the moments of connection, and find joy in the simple pleasures. By focusing on what we have, not on what we're missing, we can cultivate a sense of abundance and happiness that shines from within. Remember, it's not happiness that brings us gratitude. It's gratitude that brings us happiness. Let's fill our glasses half full, raise them high, and toast to the beauty of gratitude in our lives. Cheers to finding the silver lining, even on the cloudiest of days. 8. focusing on personal excellence. The Stoics had a profound understanding of personal excellence. They believed that excellence, or virtue, is the sole good, and that everything we do should aim toward living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, is a prime example of someone who strived for personal excellence. He once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This simple yet powerful statement encapsulates the essence of personal excellence. It's about embodying the values we admire and striving to live by them every day. Seneca emphasized the importance of self-improvement and continuous learning. He advocated for a life lived in accordance with nature and reason, suggesting that true excellence comes from within and is reflected in our actions and choices. Epictetus highlighted the role of personal responsibility in achieving excellence. He taught that our reactions, emotions, and will are within our control, and mastering them is key to living a life of virtue. But what does focusing on personal excellence look like in our day-to-day lives? It starts with setting personal standards based on our values and aspirations, not on societal expectations or the achievements of others. It's about knowing who we are, understanding our strengths and weaknesses, and taking consistent steps toward improvement. Personal excellence is also about resilience. It's about how we respond to setbacks and failures, not just our successes. As Aristotle said, excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. This means embracing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, rather than seeing them as obstacles. Moreover, focusing on personal excellence involves cultivating a growth mindset, a concept championed by modern psychology. It's the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. This mindset encourages us to embrace challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, and see effort as a path to mastery. Personal excellence also means living authentically. It's about being true to ourselves and our values, even when it's not easy. It's about making choices that reflect who we are and who we want to be, and taking pride in our journey, including both the struggles and the triumphs. Practicing gratitude, as we discussed earlier, ties into personal excellence too. By appreciating what we have and where we are on our journey, we foster a positive outlook that supports our growth and well-being. So let's commit to focusing on personal excellence. Let's set our own standards, embrace our unique paths, and take pride in our progress. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being proud of who we are and how we live. It's about celebrating our efforts, learning from our experiences, and always striving to be the best versions of ourselves. Together, let's make personal excellence not just a goal, but a way of life. 9. Not caring what others think. In a world saturated with social media, where likes, follows, and comments often dictate self-worth, it's easy to fall into the trap of valuing ourselves through the lens of others' opinions. But here's a liberating truth. Your worth isn't based on external validation. It's about being true to yourself, embracing your authenticity, and living in alignment with your values. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers we often turn to for timeless wisdom, had much to say about this. They taught that our inner peace and freedom come from focusing on what's within our control, our actions, our thoughts, and our integrity, not the ever-changing opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinions of others." This striking observation highlights a paradox many of us live with, valuing others' judgments over our own self-assessment. Seneca echoed this sentiment by emphasizing the importance of living a life true to one's self, not ones shaped by the expectations or approval of others. He believed that true contentment comes from within, from living a life that aligns with our principles and values. Epictetus taught that worrying about others' opinions is outside our control and therefore not worth our energy. He encouraged focusing instead on our own actions and on living virtuously, as that's where our true power lies. So, how can we start caring less about what others think and more about being true to ourselves? First, understand that you are the author of your life story. You have the power to define your worth, not society, not your social media followers, nor the people around you. Ground your self-esteem in who you are, the values you stand for, the kindness you spread, and the effort you put into being your best self. Second, practice self-reflection. Ask yourself, whose life am I living? Am I making choices based on my desires, or am I trying to fit into someone else's mold? Reflecting on these questions can help realign your actions with your true self. Third, embrace vulnerability. Being true to yourself means being open about your flaws and all, understanding that we are reflections of our progress, making mistakes and learning from them. This authenticity attracts the right people into your life, those who appreciate the real you. Moreover, remember the words of Aristotle, who spoke about the golden mean, finding balance in life. Applying this to our concern for others' opinions means finding a healthy balance between considering constructive feedback and maintaining our autonomy and self-worth. Incorporating a Stoic mindset into our lives means understanding that our worth is determined by our virtues, our actions, and our commitment to living a meaningful life, not by external accolades or approval. It's about building a strong inner fortress that remains unshaken by the fleeting opinions of others. Let's commit to valuing ourselves for who we truly are, not for the likes, follows, or approval we receive. Let's be courageous in our authenticity, living lives that resonate with our deepest truths. Remember, your worth is inherent and unique. By being true to yourself, you shine your light in the most genuine way possible. Let's not just navigate life, but thrive in it, with the confidence that comes from knowing we are living authentically, aligned with our values, and true to ourselves. 10. Accepting change. Here's the thing, accepting change is not just necessary, it's vital for our growth and happiness. The reality is, the only constant in life is change. Learning to go with the flow and embrace life's inevitable shifts makes navigating them less scary and more of an adventure. The Stoics had an incredibly healthy perspective on change. They saw it as a natural part of the universe's rhythm. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This profound acceptance of change as part of life's fabric helps us understand that each change, whether we perceive it as good or bad, has its place in our story. Seneca taught that becoming too attached to our current circumstances can lead to disappointment because inevitably those circumstances will change. He advised us to be flexible and to understand that change is not just a part of life, but a necessary component of our personal development and happiness. Epictetus encouraged us to distinguish between what we can control and what we can't. While we can't control our attitudes towards them, this mindset is incredibly empowering when it comes to dealing with change. It's about focusing on our responses, finding opportunities for growth within the change, and moving forward with resilience. But how can we become more accepting of change? First, by acknowledging that change is inevitable. It's the natural order of things. Everything around us is in a constant state of flux. Seasons change, people come and go, and our very selves are renewing themselves as we speak. Embracing change means embracing life itself. Second, by practicing mindfulness. Being present in the moment allows us to appreciate our current experiences without clinging to them. This awareness creates space for acceptance when those experiences inevitably evolve or come to an end. Third, by seeking the lessons in change. Every shift in our lives, no matter how challenging, comes with opportunities to learn and grow. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective can turn the challenges of change into stepping stones for personal development. Aristotle spoke about the importance of pursuing a virtuous life as the key to happiness. A part of virtue is adaptability, the ability to navigate life's changes with grace and wisdom. It's about finding balance and harmony within the flux of life. Modern psychology supports this Stoic approach to change. Viewing change as an opportunity rather than a threat can significantly reduce stress and anxiety levels. It enhances our resilience, making us better equipped to handle whatever life throws our way. Let's remind ourselves that change is not just something to endure, but to welcome as a natural, enriching part of our journey. By accepting change, we open ourselves to new experiences, growth, and the beautiful unfolding of our unique paths in life. Remember, going with the flow isn't about passivity. It's about actively engaging with life in its full dynamic complexity. Let's navigate the currents of change with courage, grace, and a heart open to the endless possibilities that change brings. 11. Practicing compassion and empathy. Despite our differences, we're all in this together, navigating the complex journey of life. By fostering an understanding and caring attitude toward others, we contribute to making the world a kinder, more loving place. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers who continue to enlighten us with their timeless wisdom, placed great importance on the virtues of compassion and empathy. They believed in the interconnectedness of all humans and taught that kindness and understanding toward others are essential aspects of living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, reminded us that human beings are social creatures by nature, meant to live in harmony and cooperation with one another. He said, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." This beautifully illustrates the idea that our well-being is intrinsically linked to the well-being of others. Seneca emphasized the importance of treating others with kindness and generosity. He argued that compassion is a natural human instinct, and that by helping others, we also help ourselves. In his writings, Seneca encourages us to extend our empathy even to those who have wronged us, understanding that they too are acting out of their own struggles and limitations. Epictetus taught that we should strive to understand others' perspectives, recognizing that everyone has their reasons for their actions. This doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather approaching others with a mindset of empathy, seeking to understand their experiences and viewpoints. But how can we practice compassion and empathy in our daily lives? It starts with listening, truly listening, to the stories, experiences, and feelings of those around us. It's about putting ourselves in their shoes, imagining their struggles, their joys, their fears, and their hopes. This act of understanding can bridge the gap between us, fostering a sense of connection and shared humanity. Another way to cultivate compassion and empathy is through acts of kindness, no matter how small. A smile, a kind word, a listening ear. These can all make a significant difference in someone's day. By being present and attentive to others, we signal that they matter, that their feelings and experiences are valid and important. Practicing compassion and empathy also means being there for others in times of need, offering support and understanding without judgment. It's about recognizing the value and dignity of every person, regardless of our differences. The ancient philosopher Aristotle spoke about the importance of friendship and the role of empathy in building strong, meaningful relationships. He believed that true friends not only share in each other's joys, but also in their sorrows, supporting each other with empathy and understanding. Modern psychology supports the Stoic emphasis on compassion and empathy, showing that these virtues not only enhance our relationships, but also our own emotional well-being. By caring for others, we foster a sense of belonging, purpose, and happiness in our own lives. Let's remind ourselves that behind every face is a story. Behind every action is a reason. By understanding and caring for each other, we make the world a kinder, gentler place. In doing so, we not only enrich the lives of those around us, but also find deeper fulfillment and joy in our own lives. Together, let's spread kindness like confetti, creating ripples of compassion that transform the world. One act of empathy at a time. 12. Reflecting and reviewing regularly. This is about taking a pause, a real, meaningful pause, to look back on our actions, our thoughts, and the paths we've tread. It's about growth, introspection, and aligning our lives with our deepest values. In a world that's always rushing forward, this practice is our anchor, ensuring we're not just being swept away, but are sailing in the direction that's true to us. The Stoics, with their profound insights into human nature, placed immense value on the practice of reflection. Marcus Aurelius, in his personal writings, which we now treasure as meditations, offered a model of this practice. He didn't just rule an empire, he took the time to examine his life, his decisions, and his moral compass through writing. He saw this reflection as essential to living a life of virtue and purpose. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, he wrote, reminding us that our internal dialogue shapes our external reality. Seneca recommended regular self-assessment as a way to foster self-improvement and wisdom. He likened life to a play, suggesting that we periodically review our roles and performances. Are we acting in harmony with the character we wish to embody? Are our actions reflective of the script we value? The script of our lives? Epictetus encouraged his students to end each day with a review of their actions and attitudes. This wasn't about self-criticism, but about self-awareness and growth. He urged us to ask ourselves, what did I do well? What did I do wrong? What duties were left undone? Through such questions, we can steer our lives more consciously, making adjustments that bring us closer to our ideals.